do it, girl. Don't do it.
No, don't
That's
do
not
it.
good.
Yeah. Okay, let me get in my share screen. Today, guys, we're gonna talk about following up and closing, and specifically in the closing, we're gonna talk more about closing people on paid in full sales, because we definitely want to get more paid in full sales over finance sales, in-house financing, so we get our full commission up front. So we definitely, I'll show you some of the tactics that we've been doing to make sure that we get more paid in full sales. And we've been putting a lot more effort more recently on it. So, and a lot of strategies that we've been applying have been working well. So we've increased the amount of paid in full sales that we have, just being more intentional about it, and simply pushing for it just a little bit more, like prior, me and Nelly were always like, you know what, a sale is a sale. You get a finance sale, you're going to get it down the road, but who doesn't want it all up front, right? So just a couple of simple things, just changing it up just a little bit, increase our ratio of the sales. And it's the difference of just being passive about it, because we were very passive about it in the past, about because we were just like a sales is sales. So whatever you want to do, in-house financing or paid in full, use the bank financing. So we were really passive about it. But just from being more intentional about it, and actually pushing for it, we've been able to close more paid in full. So if you want to get more of those, I'm going to share with you guys some of the stuff that we've been doing. Okay, so early in the month, we were talking about we were doing prospecting and list building, right? There's 5 keys to success in our business. It's list building, that is our money, our list, prospecting, inviting, following up, and closing. Literally those 5 skills. If you could master just those 5 skills, you're going to be able to crush it really in any type of sales. That is the key. That's really the top 5 key skills in sales in general. So you want to be, even if you didn't do anything else, those 5 skills, you want to just be great at those 5 skills. Okay, so we covered early in the month your list building and your prospecting. We have our training on inviting, and we've talked about that a lot in the past too. But today I want to talk more in depth with following up. Okay, because following up is for me and Nelly probably more than 50%. It's a big majority of our sales we would have lost if not for our process for following up. Okay, we've followed up with people for years. I think the longest I've had followed up with a person and they finally bought was like 4 or 5 years. I was following up with someone and they finally got a machine, and when I follow up, it doesn't always have to be like a really long, detailed follow-up. Sometimes a follow-up is just a quick little text message. See how they're going. How can I help them? And there's tons of times when after following up so many times, I was ghosted on the follow-ups, but then they're still reading my text. And when that person is ready, because maybe the person just doesn't want to be hounded or doesn't want to be reached out to, because maybe they feel like me as the salesperson is gonna try to close them, so they'll ghost me. But then months later or even years later, they'll reach out to me because I've messaged them so many times. It's at least imprinted in their brain that this is the person to go to when I am finally ready for a Kangen machine. So I'm super strict with my follow-up process, and I would say 50 to 75% of my sales would have been lost if not for me being so strict on how I follow up. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of keys over here. You guys can also see my share screen. Awesome. Number one, don't be passive. Don't be passive with your follow-ups. Make sure they're all scheduled in your phone or in your calendar of when you're going to follow up with the person, what you need to follow up about. Okay, so don't just wait for them to contact you. Always be on, I guess, the offensive, right? You're always reaching out. You're always reaching out to them, even when you're networking. Make sure that you get their number. Don't just give them your number and your card and say, call me whenever. You get their number, and then you want to be more proactive about it, and you reach out to them and follow up with them. Don't just wait for them to get back to you. Okay? The stats, 70% or more sales are made in the follow-up. I'm going to show you the screen. Some of you guys have seen these statistics in sales. Of the percentage of sales according to when they close and how many times people have followed up. But it's a really important number to know. Okay, so be proactive and follow up 7 times or more with every single prospect. Literally, because this is what I actually do, is I will follow up every single time, and I will not stop following up unless the person actually tells me to like leave them alone. Okay, if you don't and you don't say anything to me, I will keep following up with you. The only other time I will probably stop for a while is after about a dozen follow-up messages and being ghosted for about a dozen times. I will finally like stop for a while, you know, and then maybe months later, or even years later, they're going to be in one of my old lists. And then I'm going to be like, oh, you know what? I never closed that person, never told me to stop. Let me hit them up and reach out to this person again. It could be years later. That's why I never throw away my old list. Like, I jot all my notes and stuff in these notepads. I have so many of these notepads, and then I'll look through it and throw away pads. But whenever there's like an old list in these pads, I'll always tear them out and I'll store them in a folder. I never throw out lists, because remember how important lists are. It's literally the lifeblood of our business. So actually, before I left, I got a couple of my my old lists. See, they're all just names. These are all just names. All lists from previous years, months. I never throw out the names, because you never know who didn't close and that you'll forget about like years down the road, and you could reapproach it even years down the road. So I never ever get rid of my list. Okay, so follow up 7 times or more. Let me explain why. So if you guys seen these sales statistics, know these numbers, because these numbers are so important. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect, and this goes with, like, when I did real estate for a year, and I was doing real estate for City Habitats, one of the biggest. I was doing rentals in the city with one of my high school buddies, and in that office, there was probably about 200 or more real estate agents in that one office, and out of those 200 something agents, maybe 20% of them were actually successful, and the other 80% did maybe 1 sale or less a month, or didn't do any sales like a year, you know. And it's important to know, because sales across the board, it's like that with any type of sales business. If you go to insurance sales, car sales, network marketing, real estate, it all falls along these statistics right here. You know, 48% of all salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. So just take a look at that. That's about 75% of the entire sales industry make 2 contacts and stop. So what does that tell you? 75% of the entire sales industry in all of sales are really not professionals. They're either they're new, they're doing it part-time, but they don't really know how to treat sales like a successful professional sales professional. You know, that's 75% of the entire industry only make 2 contacts and stop, right? And then wait till you see how that translates to sales. Okay, so 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts, and only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. And that is why in all sales businesses, only 10% of salespeople are really the top producers that really produce the most in any type of sales business. Okay, so why are these follow-up statistics so important? Take a look at this. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. Okay, so 75% of salespeople only produce about 2% of sales in all of sales. Okay, 75% of all salespeople of anything that's sold in the entire world produce only about 2% of all sales. 3% of sales are made in the second contact. 5% of sales are made in the third contact. Okay, so that's still about 10% of all sales are made by 80%. So 80% of all salespeople all over the world only produce about 10% of all the sales in the entire world, right? 10% of sales are made in the fourth contact, and 80% of sales are made in the 5th to 12th contact. Okay, so 80% on the 5th to 12th contact, and now we know only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Okay, that means 10% of salespeople are producing 80% of sales in any industry. Okay, only 10% of people produce 80% of sales in any industry. Okay, so that's why it's so important to know how to follow up like a professional. If you really want to succeed in this business, you have to be strict with how you follow up with your potential prospects. Okay, how me and Nelly follow up. We have a very specific way that we organize them. Okay, we have 3 lists of people. We got the prospect list, the interested list, and the closing list. Okay, the prospect list is your biggest list. Well, when you're creating, when you're doing your list, like if you go into the list building training and you're checking out your memory jogger and you're coming up with names, that's your prospect list. And this is going to be your biggest list, and you want like 200 or more people on your prospect list. Okay, and it's literally like anybody and everybody, because our water and our business could benefit just about anybody and everybody, right? Who needs to make an additional income? Literally everybody right now needs to make an additional income. So put that person on your prospect list, because if you offer them the business and a way to make an income, they're gonna be highly interested in that. You know, so don't don't prejudge. Don't prejudge people like, oh, they wouldn't be interested in this. I'm not going to put them on my list. You never know unless you approach it to them. Okay. A lot of people that many of us will, which we won't think would be interested in making additional income through this. Okay. So your prospect list is your biggest list. Okay. Now, from your prospect list, from the people that you sent the 2 videos, once you've reached out to them and say, hey, I have something that I think that you'd be really good at or really be interested in. It's a really incredible business. Let me send you these links, and you send them the links. For the people that watch the 2 links, the demo video and the business video, if they're interested to learn more, those people get taken off the prospect list and are put on the interested list. Okay, so you're moving from the top to the middle list. Okay, and the people who from the people on the interested list, those are the people that are going to be connected to a 3-way with your upline or with me, and then invited to the full demo. Okay, the people on the interested list need to be connected on a three-way and need to see a full business presentation. They have to see those two things. The people on your interested list, the people on the prospect list have to just see those two videos. Okay, so make sure everyone in the prospect list sees those two videos. Make sure everyone on the interested list gets on a three-way and gets invited to the Zoom. Okay, now after the either a live presentation, a live demo, or an online overview, if they did not buy right away and they did not join your team right away, they get moved to the closing list. Okay, the closing list are the people who saw pretty much everything, the overview and the links, and whatever else you've told them, and they don't need any more presentations. They just need to close. Okay, so move those people to the closing list. When we get to the closing section, I'm going to show you what you need to know about these people in order to close them. Okay, just know now that they need to go on a closing list, and that is the list that's the most important list, because those are the list of people that they're highly interested, and they were like this close to closing, and it's literally just pushing them off the fence. Okay, so you need to make sure all those people that are on the close list are eventually a closed deal within 2 weeks max, unless it's a little longer because they have a reason why they need to take a little longer, which I'll explain what you need to know and how come. Okay, let me skip that one. Okay, closing. When to close after 5 to 7 exposures. Remember, majority of sales are made in the 5th to 12th follow-up. Okay, so each follow-up is an exposure, so they need to be exposed multiple times before you actually close them. Why? Because if you do it too early, a lot of times they'll need to think about their decision, right? If they see the business overview and it's the first thing that they see and that was their first exposure, they could be highly interested, but they're like, you know what, I need to do a little more research. That means they haven't been exposed enough. Okay, they haven't done enough investigation. If you've properly done 5 to 7 exposures or more, then they've done all the research that they need and they're highly educated, and they'll be ready to close. Maybe you only need to eliminate just a few objections that they might have about closing, and all you got to do is guide them through those objections. That's also what the three-way calls are for. You could use your upline or me to do a three-way call to answer their questions, which is basically me going over all of their objections for the close. Okay. Also, when to close after they've seen a full presentation, a live demonstration, or the business overview. Never try to close them before that. You know, if they haven't seen the overview, or they haven't seen a full presentation, they really don't know enough to make that educated decision. Okay, so always do it after they've seen the full presentation, and never before. Even if they're so excited, but you know that they don't really know enough, you'll have to kind of convince them to watch a presentation, because if they say no, I just want to join, I just want to buy, and you hit them with the price tag and don't even know what it is yet, they're going to get a bit of sticker shock. So even if they say that they want to buy, but they don't really know. If they say they want to buy, they just want to join the team, but they said, oh, I heard about it from someone else. I had another friend who's a user only, has been sharing it with me forever. Then more than likely they've already been exposed multiple times, and then you could close them without a full presentation, right? But if they know absolutely nothing, but they're just excited because it's healthy, it's a healthy water, and they like healthy water, and they say, I just want to know the price and get the machine, you're going to have to do a little work to kind of work around that and get them to see an actual presentation, because we've seen it so many times that they'll just get sticker shock because they don't really know the value of what the machine actually does, or the value of the business, and they just know, oh, this is something they're interested in, and they're really interested in it, but not $4,000 or $5,000 interested in it just yet. Okay, so make sure they see the full presentation. If they don't close immediately after the full presentation, within 2 weeks of seeing a full presentation, that is when you want them to close it. Because after 2 weeks, the excitement starts to wane down and starts to wane down. So you want to make sure you strike while the iron's hot. Okay. If they're not ready within 2 weeks, let's say if it takes them a month because they're waiting on a commission check, just you have to you gotta kind of keep the heat going. So every couple of days, feed them a brand new video, feed them a brand new testimonial. Just keep the conversation going, maybe every other day, to keep the excitement up until they are ready to buy. Don't, like, if they say I'll be ready in a month, have them not hear from you for an entire month. Okay, so just keep the conversation going and keep feeding them just a little bit of information until the time is ready for them to actually get their machine.
Jay, could I add on to that?
Yes,
just some advice, something I've been doing with social media, especially like, because I put a lot of focus on Instagram. When I talk to people and like I'll schedule that date for a follow-up, what I like to do is, as I go through the messages and the list of the people I know, to interact with them, like, and to kind of stay in that connection, I'll go through every person and interact with maybe a post that they made recently, or like their stories or something. Do like view their story and do like an emoji thing. But kind of like you said, like allowing them to see you in the process of waiting until the follow-up, where it's not just made like dead, the relationship. You could stay in contact.
Yes, exactly, Chris. I like that. Okay, let me see. I got a question from Mika over here. How often do you follow up? For example, if a prospect who attended a webinar and interested but wanted to wait, when and how often do you follow up? Okay, so if I'll add on to it. We're going to go more in depth over here, very specifically. If they've seen the webinar and they're interested but wanted to wait, you need to know these two things: why and when. Okay, why and when. Why they want to wait, and when will they be ready. Okay, I'll go more in depth in that. I have a slide specifically for that. We'll go into that, Miki. But that's a very important question. I'm glad that you asked that. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions over here. Be consistent. Okay, I see now he's answering some of those questions. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I said she's falling for that. They sound convinced and just wanted to get the machine, and then you give them the price and you never hear from them again. Okay, because they really didn't know the value. Okay. Okay, how to close, especially after the presentation. I'm notorious for this. It's called the assumption close. Okay, I always assume after a presentation the person wants to buy. Because if after the presentation you don't want to buy, you're pretty much a crazy person. Like, who wouldn't want this? This is life-changing. The business is so life-changing compared to what the investment actually is. Like, I know 110% that there's literally nothing better than this. So if you turn it down, you're literally crazy. So I assume that everyone wants to buy after the close or after the presentation. And it's actually a tactic. It's called the assumption close. Okay, so I use language to support already that they want to already want to get the machine. Okay. When we get into the closing questions, you're gonna see that too, and you've seen me say it in the past webinars. But it's basically which machine works best for you and your family, because obviously you want to already get a machine. So tell me which one, and which payment method. Actually, in the past, I would say which financing works best for you. I don't do that anymore. In order to close more paid in full sales, I don't gear them for the financing. Okay, so I'll explain in the closing questions the actual process. Okay. Another key, especially in the presentations, or if you're doing your own presentations, after showing the prices, after they learn the prices of the machine, like their excitement's over here. Once they see the price, even after seeing the value, the excitement kind of goes down a little bit, and a person could get a little scared of the price. So what they do always is to bring the excitement level back up here, and do that by speaking encouragement, inspiration, talking about the benefits of the machine, basically all of the benefits and the good things this person is going to acquire from getting the machine. Okay, so kind of remind them why they're sitting in this presentation in the first place, right? What's their hot button? What is the problem that they want to solve from starting their Kangen business or purchasing a Kangen water machine? Okay, so once they see the price, start talking about that. Okay, so start talking about, oh, you know what? I think this would be great for you. I think you'd be great at this. You know, you'd be great at this because you're so into health. You know, so many other people who are into their health. You know all about this science already. You're already living out an alkaline life. You already drink a lot of water. You know, you're already a person of influence in the health community. You know, so you explain to them and inspire them how this is going to be a solution for their problem after you're giving them the price. And then once you talk about that, then you could ask them which machine works best for you. Okay. When you're doing this live, always put the paperwork in their hands. Okay. My icebreaker, how I get paperwork in my prospects' hands during a live presentation, or if I'm with them face to face, I just say, oh, look how easy it is for us distributors. All we do is fill out this paperwork, and then I put it in their hand, and then I say, this is where you put your information, and then it's 1, 2, 3, deal is done. So simple as that. There is in sales, there's a psychology behind actually putting the paperwork in the person's hand, or being the product that the person's going to buy, putting it in their hands. If you've ever gone on vacation and you've gone to to tourist areas where they have all the vendors on the side, and then they want to sell you stuff, and then they usually take the product that you're looking at and they'll put it in your hands. You know, because to say no, then you'd have to actually like give it back to them. It's actually putting you closer to the close. You know, so there's a psychology behind it. So put the paperwork in their hands when you're facing them face to face. Chris says, don't take the paperwork out of a folder or anything. Have it out from the start. Yeah, that's a good point there too, Chris. Every little thing helps. You know, the less it looks like they're being closed, the better. The more natural it feels, the better it is. So if it's already just sitting there and you're like, here, that's what it is. Rather than let me get my paperwork out over here. It's just less natural. Okay. And there's another funny one that me and I like to do. We don't stand up from a chair or initiate that the meeting's over until the paperwork is signed. You know, you kind of, and this has happened to us. It's in when we would buy a car. You know, the car sales would kind of wear us down until we just fill out the paperwork. You know, but we'd always just sit down and kind of guide the conversation towards filling out the paperwork. You know, as long as it feels right to do so, we're not feeling too pushy. And then if they were not ready to fill out the paperwork, it would usually be them to initiate to stand up, and then we'll get up. But it will never come from our part to actually stand up from our seat to wrap it up. And we'll just keep the conversation going and lead it to signing the paperwork until until the paperwork is done. We don't get up from our chairs and end the conversation. Okay, but every little thing helps to guiding to the close. Okay, now Miki, this is what you're asking. If they don't close from the presentation, well, number one, from after watching the full presentation, close them right away. Try not to wait until the next day to close them. If after the presentation, get them on a 3-way call to answer any objections so that we can close them the day that they see the presentation. That is when they're at their hottest. Okay, that's when they're at the most excited. And all sales, every decision to make a purchase is always emotionally based. It's always emotionally based. No, even if a person says always very they're analytical, they're only gonna buy it if emotionally they're like attached to the sale and they really want to buy it. So the higher you could get them when their emotions are at a high, the more of a chance you're going to be able to close your sale. Okay, so if you could get them on the phone, right after the presentation, get them on the phone with one of your uplines, or even if you can't get them on the phone to talk, at least if it's a chat or a group chat, ask them how they enjoyed the presentation, what did they like most about it, and connect them on the chat so we could answer any objections and get them closed right away. You don't want to wait for the next day. You definitely don't want to wait a couple of days later, a week later, or else you're going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting forever. You're going to have to get them on another presentation again, and then try to close them right afterwards. Okay, so really don't wait. Push to get them on the phone. Push to get them on a group chat to answer their questions. Okay. Now, if they don't close right away, they don't close that night, or they don't close the next day, remember, they have to know those two things: why and when. You absolutely have to know those two things if they don't close right after a presentation. Okay, so you need to know why they didn't close. Let's say, for example, you had the person who said they wanted to wait. Miki, if you could unmute yourself, do you know why they wanted to wait?
So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I have a few that wanted to wait, actually. One was moving and wanted to wait until settled down after the move. And the other one was, well, financially, she was uncertain about her situation. And so she wanted to wait until, I'm not sure when.
Okay.
But that was her reason.
Okay.
She had a lot going on financially and with her tenant not making rent, etc.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. So life happens, and financially, it might be a scary decision at the moment. Okay. So that's good. You knew the first person, their why is that they were moving, and then after they move, once they're settled in. Okay, let's talk about that person. For example, do you know when are they moving?
Not exactly sure about that.
Okay.
So this person, after the presentation, he was on a chat for a bit, and then I think Joey was on with us,
Okay.
and he's not responding right now after that. So not sure what's going on.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I mean, the person's in the process of moving. That's a pretty kind of arduous process. So he probably could be thinking about the whole purchase or the business. So that's why he's not responding right now.
Mhm.
You know, people typically get busy.
Right.
So you know the why. Now that's why it's important to know when, right? So if you knew he's moving now and he's too busy to even reply, if you knew when he moves into his new house, you would know not to even contact him in that period until after he's already moved. You know, so then you wouldn't have to keep messaging him and have him not respond, because you know he's in the process of moving. He's renting a truck. He's doing this and that. So if you knew the when, let's say he moves in 3 weeks, you know, okay, let me sit back in 3 weeks, and then maybe 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks later. No, actually, at 3 weeks, you could just chime in just to say hi, because maybe if he moved in earlier, then he'd be more ready. So in 3 weeks, you could just say hi. And then 3.5 weeks, ask them, hey, how are you doing? Are you more settled in now? I hope you're enjoying your new neighborhood and you're more settled in. Okay, and then 4 weeks later, then you could say, you can invite him to a presentation. Oh, if you want to kind of have a brush up of everything that you learned last month, why don't you hop on our presentation, brush yourself up on the water and the business again, now that you're going to be more settled in now. This might be something that can help you in your area to explode it in your area. You know, so that's why you want to know when. Okay. Now the other person, wasn't sure financially. So that was their why. Okay. Financially, they weren't sure because of everything that's going on right now. Okay. What I would probably do is kind of talk about the business. Okay, this is the reason why you should do this right now. Okay, because financially it's scary, but if you look at the compensation plan financially, if you were to put your time, and if you have the time right now to put effort into this business financially, this could be a huge savior for you. You know, so she was looking at and it's all mindset. She's looking at a different way, that it's an expenditure, and financially this might not be a good idea right now, you know, but when you just switch your mindset and you say, because I was the same way. I was not in no shape to purchase a water machine, but my mindset was different. I looked at it as financially, this is something I need to get out of my finances, you know. So it's just a shift in mindset. So if you could relay that to them, and they're able to see that in their own mind, they're going to say, you know what, you're right. I need to stop like my dilly-dallying, and I need to kind of take a leap of faith and run with this thing, because I'm in a desperate need for that income right now. You know, so it's just a shift of mindset. So when you shift that, then it's you kind of realize, wow, I do need this now. I shouldn't wait. You know, I made a post about this a while ago, and it was like a picture of Nelly just making like a funny face, like a face, and the quote that I put on it is, when people tell me they need to get their finances right so they can start their business, that they need to get their finances right. You know, it's a conundrum. You need this. When your finances are right, you need a business like this. It literally saves people. Okay. So you just have to kind of shift that mindset in a situation like that. So that's like a perfect rebuttal for an objection like that. But if they're still they're still don't want to close, then it's important to know when. Okay, so when does your finances get right? For some people, it's when a commission check comes in, you know, or when they start a new job. Okay, and then you could ask them, oh, when does the commission check come in? 2 weeks from now, you'll know when to follow up 2 weeks from now. So always make sure you know the why and the when. Oh, let me see. Joey got a question. What if someone answers, I'll let you know when I'm ready? What's the best way to respond? Okay, I'll let you know when I'm ready. The best way to respond is, okay, what is it that's holding you back, that you need to situate to make the decision? Okay, so or simply put, what's going on right now that makes you not ready? You know, so you need to know that's the why. You know, so I'll let you know when I'm ready. Why are you not ready? Okay, so however way you need to construct the conversation to put the ask out, why are you not ready? Just do not wrap up without not knowing what is the objection. If they're not ready, there's an objection. Okay, there's something that's holding them back. So you need to know what that why is, and you also need to know the when of whatever that objection is. Okay, some people might just be hard and will just doesn't want to tell you. Okay, and then they'll just get aggravated and be like, I'll just tell you when I'm ready. There's nothing else you could do with a person like that. And a person like that isn't really good for business either, you know, because they're not really in the right mindset. You know, they have their own shortcomings that they need to kind of repair, which makes them have that type of personality. You know, an ego thing. It could be who knows what. But yeah, but when a person's like that, they're probably not good for business, more than likely. Alrighty, and close your prospect within 2 weeks of seeing a demo. Rule of thumb in sales also, after 2 weeks, the percentage just like skyrockets downwards. Not skyrockets, it free falls. It free falls after 2 weeks. So you want to close them within 2 weeks. And if not, if you can't remember, just keep feeding them information, get them warmed up and keep them hot. And after 2 weeks, get them on another overview or another presentation to kind of get their excitement back up. Okay. Urgency. We use this all the time, urgency, you know, because whatever the reason is, whatever their why is, you want them to just close as quickly as possible. So maybe you could offer them or create some type of urgency for them to close now rather than later. Okay, and we use all types of tactics to create urgency. But remember, the key is just urgency. Whatever it is that makes it urgent, create an urgent situation. Okay, some things we like to use is holiday incentives, end of season incentives, end of month quotas. You know, you can literally guilt them into buying the machine. Like, I know you want to get it next month, but you know, this month would really help me out. It works well with family members, or someone who cares about you, like, give me a hand and I'll help you out, so end of month quotas, or if, when offices are open, I'm like, oh, I'm going to the office, pick up a machine. I'll save you on shipping. I'll grab your machine. Okay. That just creates an urgency. Okay. Or sometimes if there's no holiday or end of season, I'm like, you know what, this week, I'm going to give out some type of incentive, $100 Amazon gift card, just because I want to close this week strong. Whatever the reason is, just create some sort of urgency for them to join now than later. Okay, or you're leaving on vacation. Oh, I'm heading out on vacation. Let's get you started before I head out. And then I can send you videos on training. By the time I come back from vacation, we'll be able to run out the gates. So get creative with it. Whatever you need to create a sense of urgency to close the sale. Just use the urgency. It's a great tactic, especially for people that are on the fence. Okay, use urgency. Okay, closing mistakes. Closing before they've seen a full presentation or after multiple, before having them see multiple exposures. Okay, asking any type of closing questions before they see the full presentation, like saying, oh, you know what, I think you should join my team, and they haven't even seen anything yet, right? They don't even know why they should join your team, so why even tell them that? Or oh, you should get a machine. They haven't seen a presentation. They don't even know what the machine does. Okay, so don't ask any closing questions until after they've seen a full presentation. Definitely don't let them know the price. Let the presentation teach them the price. Okay, if they're really trying hard to pull the price from you, I just tell them that we have multiple prices and multiple financing options. You'll learn them all at the presentation. Okay, we have so many. I'm not even gonna. It's no reason for me to explain them all. You're gonna learn them all later. The question that I hate the most is just give me a range, right? Just give me a range. When they ask for the range, then I'm stuck. Then I'll give them, oh, it's if I can't tiptoe around it and not give them a range, my answer for that range is, oh, they range from 2,000 all the way up to 6,000 for the commercial unit, and they have financing, 0 down, you make payments. And it's a really like quick brush it off question, and I move on. I don't want to stay there. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes is not asking for the sale, not asking the closing questions after presentation, and no call to action after a presentation. Okay. You really want to be proactive in everything that you do. You want to be proactive. You don't want to just be like, oh, here's some videos. Let me know when you're interested. You just got to go for it. If you want to really succeed, you have to go for it. Don't be afraid of what the person will think. Don't be afraid of feeling like a salesperson. Don't be afraid of feeling like you're selling to the person. Like, simply just get over it. The most successful people in the industry are people who just think like that. I'm trying to help you out. So I'm offering this to you. I'm going to tell you, and if you don't like it, that's fine. But I'm not gonna not do it, because I'm here to help you, and it's something that everybody needs. And if you think I'm being a salesperson, then that's your fault. It's not my fault. But I'm not scared to talk to anybody about it, or give them a call to action, or tell them you should look at this. This is something that's going to help you financially or physically. Like, this is something that you're really going to need. So, and there's no hurt in just taking a look at the video. So it comes out so simply. Once you get used to it, it comes out so simply and easily that, like, no one would say no to taking a look at 2 short videos, you know. And after the presentation, they are, almost everyone is really interested. So all you gotta do is just ask for the sale, okay? Another closing mistake, not assuming that they want to join or buy. I always assume. Assumption close, it just works really well because everyone after a presentation really does want to get a machine. Okay, it's the only thing that hold them back is either finances or their significant other who doesn't know anything yet. But everybody that sees something really wants it, you know. And I always assume that, and it always works out that way. Okay. You know, give me 1 second. Let me tell Knight to reach out to my mom because she just called me really quick. 1 second. Okay. Okay. So closing questions. This is what we've been doing to close more paid in full sales. Okay. And you see, it's 1, 2, 3. It's literally ask this question first, then ask this question, then ask this question, then ask this question. Okay. Start with which machine works best for you and your family. Our typical way that we close. And then usually our next question is which financing works. We don't do that anymore. The next question is, do you currently have enough in your credit cards to cover the machine that you want? Okay. Most, if they do, great. Let them know that you could use multiple cards. Okay. You can split it between 2, 3, 10 cards if you need to. But if you can't, then before they apply for a card, find out if they can increase their credit limit. So do you currently have enough in your credit cards to cover the machine that you want? No. Well, ask them, have you ever called to increase your credit limit recently? Because usually if you just give them a ring and you've been with them for many years, they'll be really open to giving you an extra $2,000 to $3,000 to your credit line, you know? So why don't you just give them a call real quick and see if they'll give you a couple extra credit line. And if they do, then good. Now they have enough. Another thing is when we're talking about the credit cards, there's a couple of reasons why for the prospect, it's better for them to use the credit cards. One, it's more flexible for them. They get to make lower payments and they can pay it off early and make the high payments if they want. I mean, it's just like the Enagic financing, because Enagic financing, you're making what, $150 a month for 24 months, okay? But if you want to do that, you might as well put on your own credit card and do $150 a month for however amount of months, because you're not going to incur that handling charge of $10 a month, 1. 2, it's going to build your credit. So for the customer, it really is more beneficial for them to just use their own credit card. It's going to build their credit. It's more flexible for them. You know, if 1 month is tight, they can make a minimum payment, $45, $50. But if they want to pay it off earlier, then just make those $150 a month payments, just like the in-house financing. So the credit card really for the customer is the more flexible and easier way for them. Just remember, you need to sell it to them that way, because they might not know and they might think, okay, paying off Enagic is the easier way, which it's not. It doesn't build your credit and the payments are higher, you know. So as long as they could fit it in their cards, let them know why they're using their own card is the better route. If they have a points card, like I'm notorious for having free flights because of my points, explain to them, you got a points card, put in your points card. That's a lot of points you're going to get on the price of the machine. I love to do everything on points. So if someone was selling me and told me I could put on my own card to collect the points, I'm like, yeah, instantly, definitely. You know, it's a no-brainer for me. I definitely want 5,000 or more, 10,000 if I'm getting 2 points per dollar. You know, so just remember that you need to sell it to them because they don't know why it's better. Okay, so make sure you're always you're closing on for them to use the cards. Okay. Okay, so do you currently have the credit cards? If yes, good, write them up. If no, they can't fit it on the card, and they can't increase their limits, or they don't want to call to increase their limit. Actually, if their credit is good, they should just be able to increase their limit. They should not even have to apply for a new card, which is gonna extend the time frame to close the deal. You know, because if they have a 650 plus credit score and they have a relationship with the bank will have no problem increasing their credit line. So you should be done at number 2. But if it's actually on their own accord, they don't want to increase their limit, then they want to apply for a card, then ask question 3. We got the bank financing, no interest. You need your credit score 650 plus. Do you think you'll get approved for it? If they get approved for it, great, apply. Now you have to wait a week to close the deal. So better for them to just increase their own credit line. But yeah, so if they apply, get approved, write them up on the spot. You don't have to wait for them to get the card. Write them up on the spot and leave the credit card section out and tell them when the card comes in, just give me a ring and read me the numbers and we're done. Done deal. If they can't get approved for the card, the absolute last case scenario is, well, we got the backup financing through Enagic. You'll definitely get approved. You just need a 20% down payment. Do you have enough in your cards to cover the down payment? Okay. So we don't talk about the in-house financing until everything else is expired. Okay. Previously, we offered them every solution and they get to pick one, and more people would gear towards the Enagic financing. Okay, now we don't give them all at the same time. First, we really push hard for them to use their own card or to increase their limit if they don't have the full amount in their card, and then we push for the bank financing. And last, the Enagic financing is the absolute last resort. Okay, so use a Enagic financing simply as a backup. Now. Okay. Okay, we're just checking the chat. No questions. Awesome. And then last but not least, this is such a cliche saying in sales. ABC. Always be closing. Okay. Super cliche, but I mean, it's so true. You want to be successful, always be closing. A lot of people think the close is literally just the end of the deal, but we are closing every single step in the way. I have to close the person to watch the 2 video. I need to close the person just to attend the webinar. I have to close the person to connect on the 3-way. I have to close the person to fill out the paperwork. You're every step of the way. You're always closing people. You always have to share with them the benefits of why they need to hop on. If you notice, like even the chats with the team, I always have to close the team to attend a training or a webinar, right? I don't just say webinar tonight. I tell you guys what you're going to learn, what are the benefits of why you need to attend the webinar, okay? Because I'm always closing. I'm always, it really is always be closing. So chant that in your head because if you're closing every aspect of your business, everything's working like a well-oiled machine. Right? If there's a breakage in any of them, is a breakdown of the process. Every single part of the process is important. So make sure you're always closing. You're closing every single step of the process. Alrighty, guys. Oh, I see a question over here. What card are we still recommending? Yes, our go-to card, City Simplicity. I'm still using City Simplicity. They still got great terms. It's a week for the card to come in. If anyone learns of any form of expedited card, like if anyone knows of a bank that will get you a card within 3 days, Comerica used to do that. They don't do it anymore, so that's where we stop. But if anyone hears of it, let us know, because the card that we're using is the card that we could get to our customers the quickest. Okay, that's what we want to use. So if you hear anything through the grapevine, definitely let the team know, because that's the card that we're going to be using. If any card could do in a 3-day expedite. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Let me get you out of the unmute you all. Okay.
Awesome training. Definitely going to be, I feel like this is one of the trainings that's going to be great to just, I mean, they all are great to rewatch, but there's just like a whole bunch of nuggets in here.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah, great training to be the first one out here in California. And I got my ring light over here, so the lighting has been great, even though I'm losing sun over here. Well, thank you so much, guys. Great to see you. Great to see you tonight. Let's rock and roll. Last week we had the watch party. You guys got to the watch party was so much fun. And we had such a great video we're watching. Catch those watch parties. I liked it so much. We're going to do it at least once a month for our training, because you learn so much from that too. So once a month we're going to do watch party.
Jace.
Awesome.
Wait, I'm sorry. You can.
5 minutes. Plus, the checking and savings accounts have no fees.
I just thought it was great that watch party. And I would suggest to invite friends and people that you think can potentially be good in this business, because these videos get you fired up. Like when we were watching it, we were so hyped up that we wanted to stop watching and just start working. You know, so and it's also great for people that are not in this kind of mindset and have kind of the employee mindset, and they never heard about this before. This is great, because it gets them to open their mind, to want to transform their life and potentially join your team. So this can be like a slight introduction, you know, to getting them into your Kangen business. So I thought it was amazing, and just invite your friends, your family, everyone that you want to inspire and kind of help them transform their life and just better their life overall.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it's open to guests is really great, because once you get them inspired, they're going to want a vehicle to be able to achieve what the video is like teaching them to achieve. Alrighty, guys. So let's rock and roll. I'll see you guys in the overviews and on our next training and in the WhatsApp chat. Any questions, reach out to us in the group chats. We're here for you guys. All right. Love you guys.
Thank you. Great seeing you guys.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Again.
Thank
Good
you.
Guys.